Hi everyone, how you doing today? I thought I'd show you an update on this carrier that I started working on last week. I did show it on the Look at the Workshop video last week Friday at the end of that video, but it's the same version that you're seeing right here. I do have updated versions now, but just to go over what this thing was trying to be, first it's for a challenge, a carrier challenge. Second, my idea behind this build was to have large side sloping areas at this 22.5 degree angle so you could park different creations on the side and actually use these areas as landing pads, and also the whole top of it as a landing pad. And then of course a very pretty good size pass-through hangar that would gotta go all the way through the build, all the way up the back side, plus a couple side entries here, so you could just have a lot of open room for hangar space, and then have your utility function kind of off the side of the hangar in a nice convenient spot. So I ran into some problems right after that, and I realized that with this force field that I was trying to set up here, it's pretty sloppy right now. It's got like one big force field on this side, and then the other side, there's not like a part that would work on the other side for the size needed. So I kind of faked it out with some more force fields here. I don't really like that. And another thing too, I was looking at the height of the hangar floor, and I'm like, there's no reason I shouldn't drop that down and have it 6 blocks tall coming through the build. So what I ended up doing, let's go to the newer version here, is I widened the build up by 1 block, which makes it an even number on its width. And that also worked out so I could put in 4 of these force fields to cover this whole opening on the front of it. And that is actually working out pretty good. So it's 6 blocks tall now instead of 5, so you can fit a little bit more in there. Plus, it's a little bit wider on the inside. And I also ended up rebuilding these cockpit bridge area over here. Talk about that in a second, as I do have some issues with it yet. Also, I wanted to have this thing do quite a lot of storage in the end. I haven't exactly figured out how much storage yet, but if I was going to do a lot of storage, it needed a much beefier thrusters. So I put in a lot of Excel your drive thrusters. So it does have those for reverse now. It's got 4 drive thrusters for lift, and it also has 4 drive thrusters for forward. And then the rest of the thrusters on here are just the large variants. I think they're called large, the advanced large, or whatever they are. So you do have like a 2-pack there for strafing, and a 2-pack on the front side, and then the down thrust is kind of embedded into these side surface landing deck areas. And I put some glass over it right now just so you can land on top of that, but I don't know. It kind of is blocking the thruster. Well, it is blocking the thruster, so it's kind of a problem. I'm doing the same thing on the back side over here as well. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the build. Now, what I just started doing too is trying to figure out its production area, and I did want to have a good amount of production in it, and storage, of course, to be like a base style CV. So I'm trying to like lay out how I want to set that up. The only logistical problem I really have at this point in time is this bridge up here is really, really hard to get to. Like if you're down over here, like even like running up an elevator, I guess I can in various spots, like have a elevator kind of cross over and walk up into this area, but it's just, yeah, it's more walking than I wanted. An alternative idea would be to have like something maybe up in the front here, like a little window or something like that, like a little bridge with a first person view, where you could just kind of like be out here and crafting and then walk over to there and then fly the ship from this side view over here, which is going to be really hard to see going out the other directions and things like that. But that is one idea, but I haven't exactly come up with something that I'm super excited about doing yet with the bridge setup. Also, in the comments on the last showing of the ship, it was being asked about like turrets and things like that. I didn't want to run any sentry guns on this build. I want to keep it all turrets. I was unimpressed with the sentry guns dealing with drones, and that was their purpose, and I thought they kind of really sucked against them. So I decided to go with full turrets on this build. So I went with these double turret setups kind of in the corners of the build. So you got like a double turret set up there, and then on the back side, and then a couple extra turrets on the rear of the ship. I figure if you're running from some drones or something in space, it's nice to have a little extra firepower in the back of the ship. And these turrets should be able to cover the area pretty good around it. That's, I just want to make sure that drones couldn't fly at you from any particular direction. You'd have a blind spot. So I think it would be covered pretty good with the 10 turret setup on there right now. It could actually have additional turrets on the front side here too, but I didn't want to have the turrets disrupt the landing areas. That's why I got them way out over here and not up on top over here. All right, so anyway, there's that. So this other one over here is, this is actually not quite as far along as this version is, but I was experimenting with the idea of having an elevated bridge in the back of the build, and just kind of like throwing some blocks down there to see what I thought of it. And for the most part, I kind of like the looks of that. Maybe, you know, add in better block work back over here and stuff like that, and get a little detail into the mix. But this would kind of work where you'd have a bridge that could sit up a little bit over the landing area on the top, and be able to operate the ship from back there. Now, if I did do that, I would also take the production area from the front of the ship and put it back in this slot here. But it would be a little easier to run an elevator from here up to, well, a bridge over here somewhere. And this bridge might go forward a little bit more than it is right now too. And I might actually change it back so it's got like a landing pad there, and the bridge comes up maybe to about where this crease line is here. It does disrupt its landing on the top a little bit, but I think for the most part I'd be all right with that. And looks wise, especially from the top view here, I thought it looked kind of with the bridge kind of coming up like that, it does feel a little more Star Wars like to me. Although it's certainly not a Star Wars build or anything like that. It's just it would, yeah, I don't know. I think this is probably the best way I could pull off a bridge on it, and then I would end up removing this front bridge here or something like that. I'm not sure yet. That's kind of where I'm at with the build. So moving on to the next thing, I did get the Merc MXA released to the workshop yesterday. So it's out there now. I did make quite a few more tweaks to it before I put it out there, since when I last showed it or when it was in the challenge. Basically, it just needed some tender loving care, a little more work on the inside. When I was kind of working on this, I realized that it has a location for a fusion reactor, and once you put that in, you may want to remove the addition of the existing generators. The problem is they're way deep into the build that you can't actually get to from in the build. So what I did is added in some access doors out over here, so you can get to the generators on either side of the ship here and remove them or whatever. Even put, you could the same size as a quantum core too. So if you wanted to add some extra cores, you could kind of dump them in there. So that was one of the changes. The other changes were mostly all done on the interior. So I did here. Let me adjust the lights a little bit here, and just kind of try to tweak this out, organize it a little bit better. It was a little sloppy and not super detailed when it was in for the challenge here, and I was just trying to work on the detail and organization mainly. I did update the lighting on it, so that's different. It used to have a light that was right kind of in front here, would blind you when you walked in the door, so that was removed and changed. I moved some of this stuff around a little bit on the sides over here and on the sides over here. Did add in a couple shield parts. Change this block work over here a little bit as well. Just all kinds of little tweaks to the interior. So this is how it ends up, looking in the end here. Now, it does have locations yet to add in 2 more basic shield boosters and 3 improved shield boosters, plus 2 quantum cores and 2 auxiliary cores, a fusion reactor, and a warp drive. So it's got room for all that stuff on the inside. Plus, it has all the utility function I wanted for like a POI type of ship. So you got O2, you got your trauma station, you got your clone chamber, armor locker. It's got a fridge in here. It has a constructor. It has most things, even a passenger seat. So I figured that's handy too. yeah, so that's kind of the finalized setup of the build. And let's see, one other thing I did do too is I upped the reverse thrusters on here. This was a comment recommendation, basically saying that you're going to be moving in at a POI, and when your shield gets low, your most important thing is to be able to back away from that POI as fast as possible. So if we take a look at the actual flight specs on this, it actually is faster in reverse than it is forward. Well, capable of accelerating faster at least. So 51 reverse, only 34 forward. Strafing still isn't great, but it's not its primary thing, I guess. 43 on lift, 17 down on there. So on CPU too, I really dialed this into a Core 9. So it's only got like 2 unused CPU points out of 28,000 right now. So it's balanced out pretty good for that. And I had enough CPU to add in basically 2 shield parts. So I got 1 capacitor and 1 charger, and then pop in those other reverse thrusters over here. It's still maintaining the 8 medium plasma launchers and the 2 turrets on here. So you got your Gatling gun turret on the front bottom, and then back over here. And that's mainly this one over here is mainly to shoot ground troops, and this one back over here is mainly to shoot down drones. So if you're parked near a POI, like on foot doing the POI thing, hopefully this can shoot down the drones. If you die, you can spawn back in here, get healed up, whatever you need. So that's kind of the whole point of this build anyway. The front does have some hardened steel blocks around this area here, plus that force-filled canopy that is kind of snaking through the whole front bottom area of it. You don't see it too much. It's just kind of a weird little effect there, but it's mostly hidden. And the front is pretty solid. I mean, I don't have stuff in here. These 2 little front thrusters here are ion baby thrusters. They're kind of more as decoys as anything else. They're sort of put back in there like a block from the a little bit into the front, so the AI can have fun shooting at that. But your actual strafing thrust that's making you move are the plasma ones back over here. So one other detail on the ship too is all the thrusters but these 2 up front are all plasma on the build, and I kind of needed to do that from the size I'm using, and it's a heavier ship and needs more thrust. I didn't really want to go with the bigger model thrusters on this particular build. So other than that, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with a couple different builds here. Obviously, this carrier is my next project. I'm going to try to get this done as quickly as possible. Once I can figure out my bridge situation, I think things will pick up again. It's just a lot of messing around with that and trying to figure out how I'm going to pull that off. But let me know what you think of the bridge. Now, there was one other idea, too, that might look neat, maybe. And that idea would be to have, like, some kind of offset bridge, either in the central area here or, I don't know, back here somewhere or something like that. That would kind of, like, come up over the hall a little bit. So you have, like, a bridge on one side or the other, which I think could look cool. It would disrupt a landing area, though, or a couple different potential landing areas if I did do that. And yeah, I still have the logistics of getting from the ground level here up to the bridge. Now, if I did have it offset over to the sides somewhere like here, it wouldn't be that bad because I could have a direct elevator going up to it. But if I have the bridge in the center, because it's all open air below there, that forces you to have like an elevator to the side and then have to walk towards the center after you go up the elevator. And I'm trying to avoid that too. So, yeah, I guess let me know what you would think. There's just multiple ideas with how to pull off the bridge. There's the centered rear idea like this, or a side bridge area, which would require more blocks to the build too, and would up the size class a little bit. So, not that I'm all that concerned about it, honestly. Now, currently, spec-wise, with all the parts that it does have in here, it does not have proper generators on the build. With all the Excel thrusters plus the guns mounted, it is hitting about 500,000 CPU. So I know you can go to 900,000 at a Core 9. Now, granted, the way I'm want to set the ship up though is I would probably remove all these thrusters. Allow you to put in like other size thrusters in these spots as well, and then keep the CPU way down. And then, as possible, I might even go with like the Janus or Makar idea of having it as a base when you first spawn it in, and you add all the thrusters and stuff to it after the fact, which I could keep it really cheap at a core 1 that way. And then you can just keep on, building it up and then use it as your main like base style CB that hopefully can deal with all your storage and moving all your other equipment around, whatever SVs, HVs, CVs you have with you. So yeah, please let me know your thoughts on this, especially with the bridge, idea. Like, do you think it would look best like over here, raised up a little bit, covering part of this area? Think it would look best kind of how I was messing with it over here? Or do you think I'd just kind of try to force people? I could still make it work one way or the other, but have like a elevator hallway that can get you up to this area here, and then you fly right at the front of the ship. This would be your best visible area to fly the ship at. Make it nice field of view and all that stuff. But again, kind of hard to get to. Take a little bit of walking from inside the build. But other than that, that's all I've got for now. And y'all have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later.